Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is about the rune Wunjo, also called Win. Joy. What brings joy to your life? Does your life get set up in a way that will bring you joy? So, first of all, I want to tell you the name of my website where there's a wonderful runes course, www.runepath.com, where there's a hyphen between rune and path. And also coming up at the end of October 2018, there's Kim Wilborn's Rune Wisdom Telesummit. Very, very well organised. I'm one of the teachers, and I'm teaching about the 3 acts. The fact that the Fudork, the alphabet of the ancient Norse, is divided into 3 groups of 8. The first group is what it is to be a successful human. The second group of 8 is how do we deal with adversity, calamity that comes in our life, and thus become the spiritual warrior, because we can see the spiritual meaning and deal with the terrible events. And the third group of 8 is where we become co-creator with the gods. So, oh yes, and do have a look at my really worthwhile novel, Rune Magic. Everyone who's read this says it's so good. So let's get on to Wunjo. Wunjo is the 8th rune of the runic alphabet. And so it's at the end of the first act, what it is to be a successful human being. You see, to find joy isn't sort of obvious really. And so the ancient Norse, in their wisdom, and augmented by the divine wisdom that the warrior magician god Odin channeled when he hung upside down in Yggdrasil, the world tree, for 9 days, seeking and finding the wisdom of the runes, they knew that finding joy isn't sort of straightforward. And so the first act culminates with joy. How to find joy as a human being. And then, of course, there are 2 more acts, 2 more groups of 8, as I said. So the first rune is called Feo. It's about the value issues in your life. Do you value yourself enough? What do you find value in? And in my Rune Path rune course, I do a presentation audio for each rune and a trance journey for each rune. And in addition, very often people find that when they're doing rune stance, standing in the shape of the rune, or Galda, rune chant, they're holding themselves oddly, or they feel weird with one particular rune, or maybe more than one. And so often, it's something to do with our past life scripts around what's the nature of the rune, value in the case of the first rune. And so there's an add-on course for past life journey. And so often, the person wants to bring in the true me. And so there's a second add-on course, a magical will course. And so it's a very rich offering where there's a presentation, a trance journey, rune stance, rune chant, and the opportunity for past life and magical will work. And then we come to the second rune, Aura's, strength. Do you have the strength to manifest your destiny? And so often we can be born with a script that diminishes our strength, and it shows up in our astrology chart. Classically, Sun conjunct Ketu, the south node of the moon, for example. So the next rune is Thorizaz. You need to be able to defend yourself. The next rune is Anzus. You have a right to speak your truth. And so many of us grow up in families where we don't even know what our truth is. So how can we speak it, and would it be allowed? The next rune is Rad. To find your joy, Wunjo, you need to make a journey. Rad is the journey in your life. Who do you want with you on your journey? Where do you want to get to? These are things you look at. The next rune is Ken, the spark, the fire. You need that. It's no good being flimp. And if you have a sort of flimp personality in your destiny, we need to recognise that and heal it. We need to find our passion, our spark. Okay, we're coming to the end of the first act with rune 7, Gabo. The journey leads to the gift, the kiss, the marriage. And the final rune of the first 8 is Wunjo, joy. And basically, that first act prepares you for the horrors of the start of the second act, which start with terrible circumstances where we need to perceive the divine message in them and become the spiritual warrior on the battlefield to deal with them. A terrible run of runes, Hargalas, now this and Isa, but they're for the future. We're now with the 8th rune, Wunjo, joy. So the ancient Norse knew that deep questions are raised in answer to, to question, how do we achieve our joy? Our life experience may not help us and needs to be dealt with. Our heredity may not help us and needs to be dealt with. We do need to develop our level of consciousness about the nature of joy as we work through the 7 runes before Wunjo. And you've got to remember that joy is individual to the person. We all have a different destiny. We all have a different incarnational life purpose. We all have different scripts. We all have different luck. And there are wonderful gods and goddesses that the ancient Norse worshipped. And equating to Wunjo are Freya of the Norse and Vanadis, the wonderful goddess of love, beauty and sexuality of the Vanir people who the Norse arrived in the Northlands and tried to conquer, but eventually had to join with. So the Vanir actually had a lot to teach the hierarchical warrior Norse about the nature of joy. And Odin himself ended up, doing magical work with one of their goddesses. So, the rune poem about the nature of Wunjo is, joy declares our troubles, pains and sorrows, and to him who himself has power and blessedness, and also the plenty of the clans or tribes. So this raised the awareness that we do need to have honourable relationship with our family, our kin, our tribe. And the Norse were tremendous believers in the duties we had, because we wouldn't achieve joy otherwise, because there would be endemic conflict, cruelty and exploitation. Joy binds family members together, tribe members together. But if you say you're doing a reading and you get Wunjo reversed or Merkstave, well, basically, you're out of touch with your joy. You may have lost your true identity, the true you. You may be in very poor relationship with others. You may have unhappiness, misery, blighted experience, loneliness. You may be mired in negativity or be a privileged user. You may have psychological paralysis in your life that needs to break. And you may indeed be wallowing in self-pity. But the rune magicians, the Vitki, know how to use the rune Wunjo. One of the rune techniques is a bind rune, and I've done a video about this, I teach it on my course, where you combine runes to create a spell, an intention. And Wunjo is so ideal to include in your bind rune. You mustn't be bound to negativity. You must avoid joyless occupation, way of earning money. You must follow your joy. So basically, Wunjo is fellowship, harmonious groups, celebration of life, spontaneous creativity. And happiness really means for everybody, not just for, the selfish person, not just for the tyrant. Joy is the greater art of the healthy community. Joy is the meeting of two twin souls. Wunjo's secret power, joy and freedom going hand in hand. Joy and commitment in relationship going hand in hand. So I'll end this video by saying I hope you'll enroll on my Rune course, www.runepath.com, rune-path.com. And it'd be wonderful if you watch the magnificent Rune Wisdom Telesummit that's on at the end of October 2018. So, we hope to be in touch. And I wish you joy and the understanding of joy. Thank you.